the reflection that moved. Elise Romero hadn't planned on leaving the city until the call came. Her grandmother, a woman she barely knew, had passed away, leaving behind an old house in the countryside of Oregon. Alone, tired of the fast-paced noise of Seattle, Elise saw it as a chance to recover after her recent breakup and ongoing depression. The house was large but tired. Paint peeled off wooden sidings. Wild vines curled around its frame like claws. It stood in a hollowed patch of pine forest, where the sky always seemed gray. Inside, the scent of mothballs, dust, and something older, muskier, lingered in the air. Elise wandered its hallways quietly, her boots echoing against hardwood floors. She passed family photos of people she couldn't name, and trinkets from decades long gone. But one object stood out, an ornate, 7-foot mirror at the end of the hallway. Its black iron frame twisted like old vines, the glass smudged and cracked faintly at the corner. Despite its eerie charm, Elise found herself drawn to it. She wiped the surface, revealing her reflection, pale skin, tired brown eyes, and dark waves of hair falling messily around her face. She smiled at herself, and walked away. Behind her, the reflection remained a second longer, just a second too long. By the second night, Elise had settled into a slow routine. Coffee, read, journal, unpack, sleep. But the mirror kept catching her attention. Passing it on the way to the kitchen, Elise noticed small things, her reflection turning its head a heartbeat late. One morning, she caught her image staring at her, though she wasn't looking directly into the glass. She shook it off. Old mirror, old mind. That evening, she draped a blanket over the mirror. But in the morning, it was uncovered again. She was sure she hadn't moved it. On the fifth night, Elise had a dream. She stood in front of the mirror, but her reflection was smiling. Slowly. Wide. Wrong. She woke gasping, sweat slicking her spine. The blanket was on the floor. And the mirror was clean. Driven by unease, Elise explored the attic. There, in a rotting cedar trunk, she found her grandmother's letters, written in perfect cursive on yellowing parchment. Most were mundane, but a few were disturbing. The mirror listens. It remembers who you were when you've forgotten. If it smiles first, do not smile back. My sister vanished in 42. Mama blamed the fever. But I remember, she stood in front of the mirror. She whispered to it. She smiled. She stepped forward, and never stepped back. Each letter referenced the mirror hallway, and warned of watching it too long. Elise laughed it off nervously. Until she found a photo of her grandmother, standing in front of the same mirror, and in the reflection, a different face entirely. Strange things escalated. Elise began losing time. She'd wake up in the hallway at 3 a.m. barefoot, confused. Once, she found muddy footprints on the hallway floor, but her boots were clean. Her behavior shifted. She snapped at a phone call from a friend. She drank wine alone, though she hadn't remembered opening the bottle. Her journal had strange entries, written in her handwriting. Let me out. You wear the skin, but I breathe beneath it. Late one night, she heard it. A giggle. Her own voice, behind her. She turned, heart hammering. Nothing there. But the mirror was uncovered again. And her reflection. It didn't move. Determined, Elise set up her phone on a tripod to record the mirror as she slept. The next morning, she played back the footage. Static. Creaking. Nothing at first. Then, at 3:15 a.m. exactly, the footage glitched. The reflection stepped out of the mirror. Her double walked down the hallway, entered the bedroom, and stood at the edge of the bed, watching Elise sleep. Then, it leaned toward the camera and whispered, "Why do you get to be real?" The video cut to black. Elise dropped the phone, heart racing. She tried to flee the house, but the front door wouldn't open. The windows wouldn't break. She was trapped. Night fell. Thunder rumbled. Lights flickered. Elise stood in front of the mirror, facing her double. It grinned. Slowly. Then spoke. You gave me your fear. Your pain. Your hatred. I am the part of you that never sleeps. I deserve to live. The reflection slammed its palm against the glass, and the mirror cracked. Elise screamed as the world twisted around her. She was pulled forward, into cold, black water. Shadows swirled. Screams echoed. Memories flashed. Her mother's accident, the toxic relationship, the self-loathing, the cutting words she told herself for years. And then, clarity. Elise stood her ground. She stared into her reflection's eyes and whispered, I am not just what hurt me. The shadow screamed. The mirror shattered, shards falling like rain. Dawn broke. Elise packed a small bag, leaving the house behind. She didn't speak, didn't cry, just walked through the forest path to where a road might eventually lead. At a gas station 2 miles away, she looked into a small restroom mirror. She stared at her reflection. It stared back. But, just before she looked away, it smiled slightly. Not a threatening smile, just a quiet one. Still, as she walked out, a shard of the old mirror, tucked in her coat pocket, pulsed faintly and reflected nothing. The end.